Good morning, sir. We know you only got less than 15 minutes to talk about this new business proposal that we want to share with you here in the new product development team. But we want to get going with this right now and talk to you about this exciting new proposal that we have that we think is extremely valuable to not only Indian country but to America in general. It's called EMO Inc. And it's helping to bring Native America high energy, confidence, and hope for the sustainable future. So we hope that you'll enjoy this here within the next 15 minutes. Now, the problem in America, and especially in Indian country, is that Native Americans have the highest dropout rates, suicide rates, unemployment rates, the highest rates of felonies, and teen pregnancy. So you wonder, well, why is this a big problem for America? Well, guess who gets to pay for a lot of these different issues? Well, it's Joe taxpayer that gets to pay for them. And so this proposal, this feasibility study that we've looked through and helped to create, we think will definitely help in that creating the solution for these problems ultimately. And so, of course, the solution is EMO Inc. And these are the reasons why. Now, we've been gathering research using several methods, including U.S. Census data. That told us a lot of different income levels and numbers of Native Americans in each of these states. We also created focus groups and talked to a bunch of Native American elders, folks that were 40 and older, who they're not really elders yet, but some of them are becoming elders. And we also talked to potential target segment groups of people. And this was very key in getting a lot of in-depth research, things that you don't find in books or online. And so we were able to gather some of that. We'll tell you some of the highlights of the guru and target segment focus groups a little bit later on in the presentation. We also use Google. That's an industry standard nowadays, and we were able to gather some information as to why we came up with the recommendation that we did. Now, who will benefit from this? And let's actually go into, basically what is EMO, Incorporated. What does it stand for? Well, E is for energy, and MO is for motion. And when you put E and MO together, you've got motivation. And so EMO Inc. is designed to motivate Native American people in Indian country. And so who will this benefit? Well, Native Americans are who this will benefit in general, but they're targeting ages 18 to 30-year-old Native American females. Now, one of the things that the U.S. presidential election, just this past election, did was remind us about who really controls influence in the United States. Well, that's women, and that's no different in Native America. In talking with the gurus and the target segment folks, they talked a lot about how females in Indian country have a lot of influence, and so we would like to go in, EMO Inc. would like to go in and actually target the Native American females, talk a lot about ways to motivate them, and hopefully at the very end of the day, they'll be able to educate their kids, educate their spouse or their boyfriends or their significant others. And so this is who they're targeting. The value proposition is the comprehensive solution to motivating Indian country through visual, audio, cultural mechanisms, motivation through stimulation. And so if you would back up just for a minute, visualize the motivation. Visualize that it almost looks like a presidential candidate speech, like President Obama had given his victory speech. And you remember the hundreds of thousands of people that were there. You saw the big stage, lots of lights, lots of sound, dance. In this case, we would have some role playing with acting, lots of cultural song and dance. And so all of this would be packaged in a 1.5 hour presentation. And in between all of this acting and dancing and cultural song and dance are powerful, motivating speeches from folks that have been there, done that. They are amazing. They don't take forever to get to their point, but they are designed to try to motivate and engage with the audience. And so that's what EMO Inc. is designed to do at this time. Now, the company itself is Native American owned and operated. Aaron Thomas no relation to me, is the owner and operator of this. They'd be based on the 29 Palms Band of Mission Indians Reservation near Coachella, California. Their payroll will be under 100 people. Again, that's part of the attempt of trying to, curb unemployment. They would actually employ several, tens of folks that would come in and help out with the company, and they'd be mostly Native American employees. Now, the vision is, like I said earlier, about this motivation through a tour. It would be basically they would move about Indian country using 2 tour buses. One tour bus would go ahead of the group and scout and set up and be able to get the word out about the fact that the talent and the motivational speakers are coming. They would use guerrilla marketing. They would use all kinds of ways to try to generate excitement about the fact that Emo Inc. is coming to their backyard. Now, the first year would be in Washington State, and Aaron Thomas is from Washington State. This is something that he feels that the 29 tribes that are there, he knows them very well, and so they'd be able to maneuver around the state pretty easily because of these connections. Plus, they needed a seed state that the company could definitely use. They could record it, put it out on YouTube, put it out and try to generate excitement in year 1. And that's going to be the most difficult year, as most businesses are, as you know, is year 1. So to make it easier for the company, that's why they chose Washington State. Year 2 would be up in Alaska, and the idea there is that Alaskan Indians have the highest suicide rates, unfortunately, among Indian people. And so Emo Inc. believes that they could actually generate a lot of U.S. Funds through a lot of different funding packages, grants, because the U.S. Department of Energy, Department of Ecology, and the social services folks of the U.S. government have been all trying to figure out how to curb suicides up in Alaska. And as the feasibility study does say, what the gurus were talking about and what Google also confirmed is that most Native Americans do suffer from generational grief. And that's the reason why you see suicides in Indian country. In Alaska, because it isn't very tropical and doesn't have a lot of sunshine, weather does play a part in depression, which causes suicides. And so going up to Alaska is going to be huge in trying to get the message out in Indian country. Year 3 is down to Oregon and California. Year 4 excuse me, would be Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, Utah. And year 5 is interesting because they're choosing to go east in the East Coast to Connecticut, New York State, and Massachusetts, Vermont. And the goal there is to try to get more visibility amongst Indian country throughout the entire country. Eventually, year 6 and 7 would be up in Canada, and then after that, year 8, 9, and 10 would be mostly about the middle of America. They didn't want to go past year 5 because, again, this proposal is just trying to get them off the ground, and that's sort of what they've discussed. And again, in your packet that I've given you already, that will definitely show a lot more in-depth information about the feasibility study, including the long-term plans. Now, what is the current market within those 5 years? The market size in looking at those different states within those 5 years estimates about 1.8 million people that is in the universe. That's a quite significant amount of people that could be targeted to come to these events. Now, the median income of this target segment is $15,000 to $40,000. Not very affluent. That is a risk, of course, which we'll show in the next couple slides. But we do think that is enough to be able to sustain some of the revenue that needs to come in, as we'll talk about here in just a minute. And Indian country itself is growing 1.3% annually, which isn't significantly high, but it's good. Now, the industry itself, what Emo Inc. is getting themselves into is in the entertainment and motivational speaking industry. And according to IBIZ World, the overall industry is a $24.3 billion a year industry. 25 to 34-year-olds make up 23% of the market, and there's no other Native American owned or Native American targeted businesses, so they would be industry leaders in this. So we think that's a big competitive advantage. Now, entry into this industry, there's the various key success factors, including the ability to attract local support, having a high profile in the market, the effective product promotion, and overall the ability to raise revenue. As you'll see in your packet, the ability to raise revenue is very heavily relied upon. They need sponsors. And if they're not able to attract local support or have a high profile in their market or to effectively promote their product, they're not going to attract these national sponsors. So in order for them to succeed, they're going to need to get those different things in there. And their marketing plan does show ways that they'll do that. The ability to access consumers is another big key success factor. Now, some risks. Again, the startup costs are in your packet. They would fund a variety of different things, but the big things that it would pay for are payroll or labor, travel expenses. Again, they're touring different parts of Washington State. So again, the startup costs are a big risk. Are they able to attract those funds? Global economy, the ability to attract good talent, because they are heavily relying upon entertainers to, that's their product, to be able to motivate people through speaking, through dancing, through acting. And the ability for the target market to attend is big, and competition. Now, speaking of competition, the only competition we see here is apathy versus interest. National motivational speakers like Joel Osteen and no other Native American products are out there. So the competition is there, but it's not as great of a risk as other industries. Now, the recommendation, we got 3 minutes to talk about the recommendation. We say yes with this recommendation, a high energy yes with this, because we believe it is low risk. Again, they're looking for a $3 million sponsor, which we think we can help with that sponsorship, whether it's not us that's actually giving them the full $3 million or us using our leverage to do that. It's definitely high reward, and of course it's the right thing to do. So again, as we talk about a lot of the information that's in this packet, I definitely encourage you to take a look at the different statistics and the key performance indicators. There's so much information on here. Some of the strengths and the marketing vehicles is a big one. The technology plan, the different ways that they will raise money. And again, even though they are looking for the ability to get sponsors to fund a large percentage of their annual costs, they would be raising their own funds after each of these tour events. There would be a point of sale system that would be needed to be able to sell DVDs and CDs and books and headbands and wristbands and t-shirts. So there's a variety of ways for folks to purchase these different products, and there's an average unit sale that's included in your packet. So we definitely encourage you to please take a look at that after we're done here, and maybe we'll meet a little bit later on this week to discuss this on your time. I know that you're a very busy person. So again, we can't stress how important that we think this product is going to be and for the future of America and for Indian country. So again, thank you for your time, and we'll definitely see you very soon.